This film tells a human child from a descendant of a superhuman family who had disappeared, so that when he was adulthood, he was looking for the origin of his family. The story begins in the country of Mongolia, which is so natural, far from the noise of the city, where the grass is green, valleys and rivers free from waste or pollution. Seen people gathered to hold a power festival, fighting with the rock band Heavy Metal. They gathered in the middle of the wrestling arena like Royal Rumble at WWF SmackDown. After completion, the wrestling champion of the previous year, named Beitar, entered the arena. Then Vince McMahon introduced a new challenger named Setseg. The audience was surprised when a little girl appeared while continuing to smile into the arena. Beitar laughed crazy. Seeing his opponent a cute girl, the referee began a sign to start the fight, made him approach to pinch his cheeks with exasperation, and the audience joined in laughing. Feeling underestimated, Setseg lifted Beitar's body into the air. The audience was surprised how could a little girl lift an adult man with one hand. Smiling, he threw him like a toy. The watching was cheering, and then Beitar rose again to attack. But he got a kick in to support him again. This man was still rising, trying to jump, but Setseg caught his feet, turning and throwing away the arena. Moving elsewhere, it turns out that Setseg is named Namsun. A man named Kang Bung tells of a regret of inviting Namsun to go to Mongolia, which made his daughter disappear there, and until now continued to find information on her existence. In another place, a wealthy businessman named Nona Huang, who's also the biological mother of Namsun, received an idea from her assistant to hold a strong child contest specifically for women hoping to meet her daughter, who has now won the champion of the strength when Namsun was photographed. The flash of light raised memories of their families. It turned out that Namsun's power was revealed from Miss, according to Kangbung. His ability was so strong that no one could defeat him. This power had existed for generations for 500 years and was only passed down by girls. Elsewhere, when Miss Huang was going to leave, two people were visited, one of whom was carrying arm-pole weapons. This person said that it was a legacy from her ancestors and wanted to sell it. Requires the cost of his wife, who was treated at the hospital. Miss Huang was willing to buy it by opening the safe to take money. It turns out that these two people are robbers who want all contents in the safe. Realizing in danger, Miss immediately showed her strength. Until finally, they have to leave without carrying anything. Back when the first time Kangbung met Nona Huang, who was opening a food stall, he was so smart in terms of promotion by ordering his employees all day for a public road to tell about the shop to every driver who was met. So that, without taking a long time, the shop became successful, and Kangbung, a bank teller, was rented to take care of the profits, and eventually there was a love location between them. Both of them were intoxicated with love, like Romeo and Juliet, until finally Huang asked to marry her, in the future telling Kangbun to get out of his job and focus on the hobby of photographers, hoping to immediately have a daughter. When he was going to exercise, Kangbun only found out that his wife had unusual power when looking for the right bed position to do it. Finally, they both had twins, a boy named Namin and a girl named Namsun. When the day of the Namsun celebration showed strength by lifting the table and throwing it to make the guests surprised, but not with their very happy family, because this power was finally sent down to their daughter. Unfortunately, when Kangbung invited Namsun to Mongolia, he instead lost his daughter, and because it made Kangbung and Miss Huang divorced. In Mongolia, Namsun was raised by couples who do not have children. In the past, when they first found this girl, from a distance they saw a small child riding a horse while crying. Because the difference in language, they did not understand if Namsen continued to call his father, who according to them was the name of the horse, and thought this girl was sent by God. With love, they raised Namsen without knowing what really happened, but both of them were confused why this girl was so strong, while Namsen had understood if she was an adopted child. Then, his adopted mother showed the clothes worn by Namsen when he was first discovered and saw the brand of her shirt originating from Korea. So since then, Namsen began to fond of Korean TV channels, which at that time played the song Gangnam Style, reminded him of his real name, Gang Namsen. His desire was stronger determined to go to Korea, but before he had to learn Korean first. Every day he spent time learning Korean, can even sing a song that is often sung by Kangbong. Year after year passed, not felt, Namsen grew into a very beautiful woman. In the conversation, his adoptive father suggested that he immediately went to Korea before being late to find his family, also did not need to worry about both of them, hoping Namsen could get married and live happily. Moving to Korea, the competition to find the strongest girl has begun, but some of the participants are almost the same as Miss Hwang. Until finally, the remaining one participant, who still stood holding back the burden. Hwang found a very strong child, who had also lived in Mongolia, thinking it was his missing daughter. But Kangbong was not sure that this girl was not Namsen. The next day, the girl named Hwaja was brought to the house giving a luxurious dish. In the conversation, Hwaja said her blood type was type B and was brought from Mongolia to an orphanage in Korea when she was 5 years old. Everything was right, and Hwang Yu was sure she was her daughter. And even Hwaja was very concerned about her making Hwang crying. At lunch, Grandma Namsen felt that if it was not her grandchildren and wasted too quickly, because people already knew that their company often held this competition to find Namsen's whereabouts. Sure, the girl is his daughter. Kangbong still reminded that he was not his daughter because he was very understanding of the details of Namsen. Since he was a child, he took care of his 2 children, while Hwang was too busy taking care of the company's business. Kangbong explained that Namsen had a wound on the foot due to being hit by a tree branch while playing. Hearing that, Hwang became angry because he was never told. Feeling that her ex-husband had never taken care of their children well, Kangbing also blamed him because his ex-wife did not know, tired of taking care of the household because he only thought of work. The debate made grandmother upset, telling them to sit, because the most important thing now is to ensure Hwaja's identity. Kangbun said Hwaja was not his daughter, because Namsen's beautiful eyes were obtained from his mother's eyes. Hwang thought of Kangbung's words, secretly examined Hwaja's feet, and found a wound. This made him very sure if this girl was really Namsen, who had disappeared for 17 years. Moving to Mongolia, Namsen's adoptive parents sell all their sheep to finance Namsen's departure to Korea, because today is his last day in Mongolia. At that moment, the horse that always accompanied him away forever. His adoptive father said that all this time, the horse he named Fapa survived until Namsen returned to Korea. As a tribute to Fapa's long chain necklace, thrown into the sky through the clouds, hoping that Fapa's soul could be free. The problem is that the bell flew to Korea to remain on the head of a young police officer. Before leaving for his adoptive parents, gave money settings and items that would make it easy to find their biological parents in Korea. They also advised that in Korea it was difficult to go home whenever you want. In Korea, Hwang invited Hwaja to a beauty salon and shopping whatever his daughter wanted. Before going home, Hwang said that everything yours made Hwaja smile. When he arrived at the office, Miss Hwang met a woman who wanted to borrow 10 million won to her, even submit a permit from her job. Huang thought there was something strange, so that he told her employees to give money to the woman. And it turned out that the money was used to buy drugs because it was already severe. Coinciding at that time, the young police named Hesik were chasing drug dealers who were currently conducting transactions. When this police wanted to pursue the dealers, it was seen that the woman was using drugs, so that her car walked strangely, could not control the car. So Hesik prioritized to save the woman first. From afar, a high-speed motorbike jumped in front of him, chasing a black car owned by a drug dealer earlier. So that there was a pursuit that turned out to be the driver, Miss Huang, who kept going to the tunnel, and finally, after the car stopped, Miss Huang immediately approached and gave a surprise prize to them. But the drug boss, who was actually on the plane from Mongolia, the same plane that was boarded by Namsen to South Korea, somehow this smuggling hid drugs so that all objects that have the potential to be suspected. After getting the information, Hesik and his colleague immediately went to the airport. At the same time, the plane will make flights from Mongolia to Korea. Unexpectedly, when going to the airport, the plane experienced a disruption that made the brakes unable to function, making all passengers immediately panic because the aircraft should reduce speed in order to land. Namsen immediately moved by kicking the door, then jumped down, chasing the plane, and holding back his strength to let go of full strength so that his mother and grandmother felt tightness due to the tremendous vibration of power that made them connect to each other. Finally, the plane stopped so that rescue officers immediately evacuated the passengers. In the same place, a mysterious man named Ryu saw the whereabouts of Namsen walking under the plane, realizing the girl who managed to stop the Ironbird, including a Hensik officer who was in the control tower, while her mother and grandmother who still felt tight, while Namsen looked relieved.